Today we're gonna make an easy dish, a great weeknight dish. It's Greek lemon chicken and potatoes. Here are the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. So I always like to go over all the ingredients on the show. It helps you. It's all about helping you. It will just make the experience much easier. Recipe says 5 Yukon Gold potatoes. I have 4 because it says medium potatoes. I have 4 very, really large potatoes. We probably won't even need all of that. We're just gonna peel them and then just cut it into cubes and then get it in 1 layer, maybe 1.5 layers. So just whatever it takes to do it, that's what you'll do. And then for the chicken, we're gonna marinate this chicken. We have 8 chicken thighs here. These are bone on, skin on, all that. Just use 8, so you can get 4 servings here if each person gets 2 chicken thighs. We're gonna marinate them, and we're gonna marinate them in 3/4 cup of olive oil, or extra, this is extra virgin, but it doesn't matter. 1/2 cup of fresh lemon juice. The acid in that lemon juice is really gonna penetrate it, tenderize the chicken, and believe it or not, you can do this overnight, but you don't have to. You can just do it for an hour. Like even 30 minutes will work. So you can do this recipe fairly quickly. Remaining ingredients in that marinade: 8 cloves of garlic, 2 teaspoons Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of honey, 2 teaspoons of fine sea salt. Just use a fine salt, okay? Himalayan pink, it doesn't matter what salt, it's the weight amount, okay? Because if I told you 2 teaspoons of Diamond Crystal kosher salt, it would be half as salty as 2 teaspoons of fine salt. 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 tablespoon of a dried oregano. You could use Greek oregano, you could use any oregano you like. And then 1 teaspoon of thyme, okay, dried thyme. We'll blend this all together, and then we're gonna marinate the chicken. Okay, so again, 8 chicken thighs I have. Let's clean these chicken thighs up. What I mean by cleaning them up. So when you buy them, they'll be like this. It'll be a massive amount of skin overhanging on both sides. And you don't really want that. You can save this skin, you can fry it up, you can use it for other things, but for this recipe, we want to clean up these chicken thighs thoroughly, okay? So make sure your knife is sharp too. It'll make it easier to do all this, okay? Because we're just gonna do a little bit of surgery here very quickly, like this. And also, I recommend when you do this, chicken, all these chicken, they always have bone fragments. So if you see anything, just pick it off right away. All right, I'll do the rest. Okay, so I just have my blender here. This little thing, you don't need your big blender. So if you have a blender like this, use your little attachment. This is again 1/2 cup of lemon juice. Fresh lemon juice, okay? I don't ever use the fake stuff. It's horrible. Yeah, so we also need 3/4 cup of the olive oil, extra virgin. I'm using extra virgin. You can use regular. It doesn't matter. 1 tablespoon of oregano and 1 teaspoon of thyme. Both dried. 2 teaspoons fine sea salt, 1 teaspoon black pepper, 8 cloves of garlic. Listen, if you don't like a lot potent garlic, just back off on it. Maybe do 4 cloves, but it gets distributed fairly well. And this is also, all this marinade is gonna be for the potatoes as well. So it's pulling double duty here. Okay, that's 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard. That's just gonna help emulsify this. Also the honey is too, and the honey adds a nice sweetness. I've used honey in some other Greek recipes. In the Greek lamb with potatoes, I used honey in it. So you don't have to add the honey if you don't like, but I'm adding it because it's my house. But I always want you to make these recipes your own. Say you want a little hot pepper here, add a little hot pepper. This is advanced stuff today, The secret is there's nothing hard in cooking at all in any recipe ever. Anybody who tries to tell you that and make it feel that way, they're trying to do that because they want to have power over you and pretend oh, you have to listen to me 100%. I'm just giving you a little guideline here. You can do what you like, all right? Okay, I just put the chicken in a bowl, just a bowl that can fit the chicken. Doesn't have to be any bigger than that, okay? And then fit the marinade too. You have about 1.5 cups of this marinade. Okay, you can break out bro gloves if you want, but you don't have to. Just make sure the marinade gets all over the chicken here. So this just smells fantastic already. It's such a good base to make just a ton of Greek dishes. Okay, I'm just gonna get everything submerged. Cover this with plastic, put it in the fridge for an hour, 2 hours. I mean, honestly, you could do as little as 30 minutes. You could do overnight too. Don't go more than 24 hours or the chicken will start to get super soft and break apart because of the lemon juice. 4 of these potatoes or 5 smaller Yukons. I'm gonna put these potatoes in this dish, okay? This is a 9x13 baking dish. It's about a 4 quart. So we're gonna put the potatoes down after the marinade and the chicken on top. So this will give you a visual reference of how many potatoes you need. Peel these or you don't have to peel them. I will peel them. And you can cut these into chunks, wedges, smaller. For this recipe, I like to just go kind of just this, half, okay? And then just like that, okay? Just chunks like this. You want them smaller, go smaller. It doesn't matter. Chicken thighs are great because they can roast for a long time. Internal temperature is not critical, okay? Versus like chicken breasts. That's why we're using them, and they're better, they're more flavorful. You should be using them for all chicken recipes, if I'm honest. And you will never get a piece of woody chicken from a chicken thigh. Like honestly, you can be haphazard here. Like I'm cutting it different every time. I don't care, all right? As long as they're roughly the same size, it's not gonna matter, okay? You know, if you see anyone that's a little too big, just cut it again. All right, so you got time before, you know, your chicken's marinating. You can soak these potatoes. You can put them in water if you want. That'll remove a little bit of the starch, but again, this is another thing. It doesn't really matter too much if you do or not. Especially for a roasted potato dish that these things are being almost submerged in the marinade. It's just not a big deal. Like Greek potatoes almost always are served like on the softer side. So this is like combining like the standard Greek lemon potatoes you always get at a Greek restaurant, but this is kind of like, this is with chicken too. But anyway, I'll soak these for a little while. Before we roast them, we want to drain them and we want to dry them off. My potatoes are dried off and my chicken has been probably in the fridge for 3 hours, I'd say. I have a 9x13 baking dish here. And then let's just put our potatoes at the bottom here. Okay, so that's like basically one layer. That's what we want. Like without the chicken, let's just get a lot of the sauce on there to start. Marinade, whatever you want to call it. All right, so just use your hands and just get it, all that delicious marinade. And when I tell you it's delicious, it really is. It's so good. It's so easy to do this. So now take all the chicken pieces, and you know, you could do a better job and get even more, but it's all gonna just drip from the top anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. And make sure they're skin side up here. And then you could use your hands or you could use like a squeegee. By the way, that's my oven. It just went off, set it to 425 degrees Fahrenheit and set the rack to the middle level. Because we essentially ground up everything, the oregano, everything, I like to put a little bit more on top for color. Fresh oregano is great for garnish too on this. And a little bit of black pepper. Put it in the oven at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 10 minutes. Then turn the heat to 375 and let it keep going. Let it cook for another 50 minutes roughly. Check your chicken. Your chicken should be at least 185 degrees Fahrenheit internal temperature when you check it with one of these, okay? Chicken thighs have a lot of connective tissue. They're much better when they're at 185 instead of 165. You could also cook them even more to 200. They'll just get tender, they'll fall apart. All the fat and the juices are gonna go on these potatoes, which is gonna make it really nice, all right? Chicken's in the oven, it's gonna be an hour. Let's do a side dish, an easy side dish. I always like to do like full meals. So, you know, we do this on our Patreon all the time. If you wanna see full meal videos, sign up for it. It's more laid back than these videos. These are green beans. I washed them, they're dried. You would just snip off the end, okay? Like that. I got extra virgin olive oil. I have a ton of garlic. If you don't want that much garlic, don't use it. I'm not telling you exactly how to do it. I'm just giving you the general idea. And this is a really good side dish that can be made in about 15 minutes. Maybe more like 20 or 25 because I like to get this garlic really golden. I have a 14-inch pan here. This is my hard anodized, very light Cuisinart that I like. I've been using this a lot lately. So a little bit less than medium heat. Olive oil, extra virgin I'm using, just coat the bottom. You could use a lot of oil here. We wanna infuse all this garlic, and I just cut the really big pieces in half and I left the small ones whole. So it's gonna take a little while because we're not cooking this at high heat. The garlic is gonna get very nutty, golden, and be delicious when you eat it without being like strong. A lot of Italian restaurants and, you know, other restaurants, they'll do this for vegetables. They'll just have essentially it's garlic confit. They'll just have a big vat of it. And then for any order, just put it in. And that speeds up the process a lot for them instead of taking garlic from scratch. Because garlic from scratch would take about 5 minutes to get it golden. Then if they're making more stuff, you know, vegetables or clam sauce, whatever, it would take too long. So that speeds it up. But we're essentially doing that now here. We're just gonna make this really good garlic oil. Okay, so I've just been keeping it because, you know, this is a thin pan. It's gonna push it up in the center from the heat. I've just been keeping it where the oil is pooling so you can see how nice and golden all that garlic is getting. It's not burnt at all. It's just beautiful, just unbelievable flavor. This is how you get the good flavor, okay? Not when you like, you know, some guy, girl, whatever's telling you, just put it in for a second, don't burn it. Not gonna taste good that way. It's not gonna taste like this. It's not gonna taste anywhere near as good as this. So I would just keep going with it. And then what we can do is When we get it right to where we want it, when we lock it in, we can just pull it out. Take it all out, put it in a bowl, and then we can just put it in later after we do our beans. If pieces get a little too much, just start taking them out. And then let the other ones stay in to get more love. But these are all pretty much good. Okay, here's all our green beans. So now I'm gonna turn the heat up a little bit, probably to about medium. Okay, put a little bit more oil, a little bit of water. If you just like rinsed your green beans, then they'll probably have a lot of like wetness on them. These were dry. Lid. That doesn't really fit that well. And maybe about a 6 out of 10 I'm gonna raise it to. Maybe a little higher. You know, they cook quick. You wanna get them nice and soft. And then we can drain the water, and then we can start like getting a little bit more softness on them, maybe a little color if you like, and then season them up really nicely. If you wanted hot red pepper, you could put hot red pepper in these too. Like if you want to just do like a standard Italian, you know, green bean. I actually have lemon and feta over here, which is gonna be nice, I think, for like a kind of a Greek-inspired green beans. Okay, so it's been going about 5 minutes. They'll get greener, okay, bright green, but they're still hard. You can keep cooking them from this point. They'll just take a little bit longer. I would let them soften up a few more minutes, and then we'll uncover and we'll evaporate the water. We can also pour out the water. If you are getting too much evaporation too quickly, just put a little bit more in, okay? I always do it this way to save myself like one pan, an extra pot. You can just blanch these in a pot, salted water, and then you can do your garlic and oil. You can throw them in too. It's another way to do it. A lot of people like to do that with broccoli rabe because they think it takes the bitterness out of the broccoli rabe, but green beans aren't bitter. Green beans are delicious. Okay, it's been a couple more minutes. Got plenty of water in there along with the oil. If you just let it keep cooking now, the water will all evaporate. You'll be left with the oil. The oil's not going to evaporate. Okay, nice and green now. Look really good. Okay, so say you have too much water in your pan here. You've got too much and they're getting too soft, but they're not that soft yet. But say you do. Take your lid again, like this, and then, you know, you just do it carefully. Bring it over and then just pour out the remaining liquid. Okay, I did take out a little bit of liquid. I'll show you. I took this much out. Some oil in there, but most of it's water. Turn your heat down now, because once you get them how you like them, you can just turn it off or turn your heat really low. Good amount of salt. Okay, green vegetables need a lot of salt. A little bit of oil for good measure, because I lost some of it there. If you want your garlic back in, you put some in. It's really nice. It's nice to hold it off until, like, when you serve it in a platter. If you want hot pepper, I probably should have put that in before. I'll put a little bit in. And then for the Greek-inspired, we can do a little bit of lemon juice. But it's not just Greek. I mean, a lot of restaurants will serve escarole with lemon juice. Just a little bit. Mix that through, give it a taste test, see if you have enough salt, pepper. The beauty of this vegetable, or really any green vegetable, is you don't have to have it piping hot. This can sit now. You can stick it over on your stove. You can heat it up again if you want, or you just put it in a platter, cover it. The vegetable does not have to be piping hot. All right, let's just taste one, see if it's good. Still a little bit of a crunch, but good. A little bit more salt. If you're gonna put feta on, just hold back on the salt. And then you have your extra garlic if you want. And I want beautiful side while you're waiting for your chicken. Don't ever be intimidated about making a green side. It's the easiest thing in the world. There's no right or wrong with this stuff, okay? It's you. You're the one who gets to decide how you like something. So you want the green beans to be more on the mushy side, which a lot of people love. Make these things your own. I gave you kind of like a schematic a little bit, and then you can do it yourself. Look at how good that looks. So first things first, let's check the temperature of the chicken. Make sure that it's cooked enough. Okay, 188, 190, 184, 182. All right, still going out a little bit. 182, still okay. This is like the point. So one piece, you know, bigger ones a little less than the smaller ones. At least get it to around 185. Here's the deal. Sometimes after this, and this cooked for 10 minutes at 425, and we did another 55 minutes at 375. Even after that cooking time, your potatoes might not be tender. So let's check the potatoes. Touch a potato, okay, it's not super tender. Might be a tiny bit hard here. You got two choices here. You can throw this all back in the oven now because you know your chicken isn't, like, it's not, you know, it's not like it's super cooked or anything. It's still, these are chicken thighs, very forgiving. Or you could pull the chicken off, put them in a platter, and just throw the potatoes back in, and you can brown those potatoes up a little bit if you want. That's probably what I'm gonna do right here. It's very simple to do this. Okay, let's just pull these pieces off. Okay, there's a lot of liquid left in there with the potatoes. A lot of that liquid is the chicken fat. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn my heat up to 450, and I'm going to finish these potatoes off. Now you don't have to always do this. I mean, I did the other day when I made this, I didn't have to do it. All right, I'm gonna raise my heat to 450. All this liquid, after about 15 minutes, will be absorbed into the potatoes. Potatoes will get a little crispy on top, but for the most part, Greek potatoes are still kind of just like, they're saturated with the flavor, and it's a ton of flavor from that chicken fat. I'll just cover that with foil. Just tent it. So those potatoes, probably another 10 minutes at the 450, and you can see how beautiful they look now like that. Okay, there's still a lot of juice in there, which is great. Our chicken, it's right in the platter. You can serve the potatoes all in the platter. You can put the chicken right back on top, which is what I'm going to do, because it just looks so good, like that. Couple lemons, okay, that looks really nice, just like that. Just throw them in. Okay, and this is some shriveled up oregano, fresh oregano. You could do parsley too, just a little bit, and that looks beautiful. That is a one-pan dish, all right? It's a one-pan dish, you marinate it, and you get just this beautiful result. You might have to pull that chicken out like I did, do the potatoes, but you might not. We're gonna bring down the taste tester for this, and then we'll serve the green beans also on the side for him. So you have a full meal. So James, thank you for coming back for another taste test. This is Greek lemon chicken and potatoes, and I made garlic green beans with a little bit of lemon too.
Is this bone?
Yeah, those are bone in. I would cut it. I still would cut it. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's the downside of bone in. The chicken's like pretty much fall apart tender right now. There's a lot of juice in here still, and it's, you know, it's cooled off a little bit. Oh yeah, you're gonna dip in that juice, huh?
Yeah.
I always like to have a green side with every meal I make. Mama does too, right, James? She insists on that every time.
Yeah, she does. The potatoes are way better than the chicken. That's my honest opinion. They're just like really good.
You know, the chicken is that good, huh?
That was better the other night.
It was better. Oh, it could be the brand, you know?
Yeah. I'm gonna give the chicken like an 8 out of 10. And I'm gonna give the potatoes like a 9.5 out of 10. I don't know if they're deserving of a 10, but they're very good. Chicken, just like, I think would be better with just like boneless, and I know it's not your fault, but...
Mama wanted the boneless too. And by the way, use the boneless, skinless chicken thighs. It will make a simpler recipe, and no matter the age of your kid, your children, everybody will be able to eat it easier. You won't have to deal with bones, or bone fragments for that matter. Actually, you get bone fragments now in boneless too, which...
The potatoes, very good, very lemony. They have like almost like this sort of coating on it. I don't know what it is.
It's the chicken fat, because the chicken's on top. The chicken fat like greases them up.
It's really good. And I'm not sure if you made the green beans, but they're good too.
I did make them. We got a 9.5 and 8. What would you just give the whole thing?
Probably an 8.5.
8.5?
Yeah, I feel like that's fair.
And listen,
More like a 9.
I appreciate every rating you give me. I think people really want the honesty.
I really like the green beans.
I like the green beans too.
I don't like green beans most of the time. I just don't think like some dishes are as good as others. Like, I feel like the max this can get is probably like 9 or 9.5. Oh yeah, and this is healthy.
Well, it's healthy. Healthy-ish, I'd say.
Healthy-ish.
Used about a cup of olive oil in here, and...
But still, chicken, carbs, greens.
Yeah, this
like protein, carbs,
building
and
blocks for kids. Yeah, he's going to be like 8 inches taller than me soon.
Yeah, chicken, potatoes, beef and potatoes, stuff you need.
Yeah, for sure. All right, we'll see you next time.